This is Kunming's largest unfinished real estate development, a different kind of happy city. After waiting for 7 years, more than 50 owners have moved into these unfinished buildings one after another, starting in May 2020. Because of last year's pandemic, they lost their jobs and were no longer able to pay their rent and mortgage. The happy city dwellers are the most diligent and hardworking type of people in China. Most of them were born in the 1970s and 80s and came out of the countryside without background, resources, or power. It is not a small sum of money to buy an apartment in the city. They have also shown amazing living ability and the spirit of never giving up. They lived in the unfinished buildings without water, electricity, and gas. They couldn't afford to burn gas, so they fired up an earthen stove and picked up waste wood from the community for firewood. They set up vegetable plots in the land to grow their own food, such as cabbages, leeks, eggplant, tomatoes, and green onions. They are autonomous and have freedom of choice in this way. They make the most out of this unfortunate situation. Kunming Happy City is located in the suburbs and surrounded by factories, logistic hub, urban villages, and so on. Happy city dwellers and people living around that neighborhood are mostly migrant workers from rural parts of China. There are about 200 million rural migrants living in the cities today in China. Many of them live on the outskirts. Most of them do not have an urban hukou, and therefore not qualified for city-based schooling, accommodation, or medical care due to the local-based citizenship constraints. One of the greatest tales of our time is China's transition from a poor rural nation to an economic and diplomatic superpower. The crisis of the countryside is the flip side of the rapid urbanization. What has happened in rural communities that were once the center of the Chinese economic, social, and cultural life, since migrant laborers have flooded out? Traditional Chinese agriculture has infused the rural spirit. It includes hands-on ability, sustainable growth, and organic community. In rural area, rural housing used to be a unique creation, designed by their minds and hands. They made different kinds of bed, stove, living room in the villages. Depends on the climate, custom, and lifestyle. Rural spirit also includes organic growth. Here is an example. In Guizhou province, villages have this custom that every family has their own plot of land for planting trees. When the son of the family is about to start a new family, they use the trees to build a new house. When this new family is having a new baby, they will plant trees for this baby. By the time the baby grows up, the trees are also ready to be used. The last one is organic community. When someone is building a new house, it's such a big event that the whole village will come and help to finish the important part of the house. After that, there will be 3-day feast for celebration. In the Kunming Happy City, the perseverance and creativity of these inhabitants are showing us the possibilities to revive rural spirit. We are not reviving a traditional way of living or regressing to a practice of a bygone era. We are taking a fresh look at rural life from a new viewpoint and learning from their spirit. Village starts with an ecosystem, which is the foundation for the organic growth of a community. In this ecosystem, bamboo will be the fundamental material because it's a local material in Kunming. It can grow 30 centimeters per day and be used for construction, structure, furniture, and finishings. The happy city inhabitants will be the experts to design and build things in their own way. Here, as an architecture student, I can't do anything more than observing, studying, and humbly providing an action plan, with the goal of rural renaissance and building a truly happy village. Originally, Happy City is designed to house 4,000 people. Right now, there are 50 people living there without water, electricity, or gas, and those 50 people were living on the first 3 floors. My first step would be planting bamboos around the site and collecting rainwater from the rooftop. Bamboo can grow 30 centimeters every day. With parts of the bamboos, they can make the doors, windows, and furnitures. With living conditions improving, we might see a slow growth in the population. The second step would be building ecosystem on a bamboo scaffolding. The scaffolding is weaving around, stretched in and pushed away by people's will. Inside the scaffolding, there is space for growing bamboos and vegetables. At this moment, we might see the population will triple than before. With the scaffolding, they can act and subtract. Some of the floors might be repurposed and turned into bamboo storage and workshop. I'm predicting the population will reach to 1,000, and there will be ongoing changes to these buildings and scaffoldings due to the changes of their needs. Other than living in the happy city, we might also see bamboo manufacturing and processing industry to be a huge income for the happy village. In response to the title of our studio, Other Way of Doing Architecture, their way of doing architecture is more like design in situ, building without a master plan, more improvised, unpredictable, self-renewal, and so on. So in this chapter, I'll give more detail to show how they might design their own space provided with bamboo material. Here you are looking at the entry of the happy city. The center building here, I believe, is where they first settled in. Bamboo plantation will happen around these buildings, and then followed by the bamboo scaffoldings and other interventions. Some informal business will happen, such as food and drinks, hair salon, and so on. In the future, after fulfilling their basic needs, they can make and sell bamboo byproducts to have more income. Speaking of the use of the unfinished buildings, only some minor changes needed to be done to this ground floor, and then it can be a place for bamboo storage and workshop. From planting to drying to cutting and processing, all the steps will be closely connected. When it comes to living, a few families will share an apartment unit. The kitchen stove will be the center for this co-housing. The population will slowly increase due to the improving living conditions. However, it won't go any higher than 8 floors, because they cannot afford to have an elevator. A pavilion will be needed for festival gatherings and workshop. It will be built in the simplest way, such as a tent structure with a lightweight roof, attached to the scaffoldings and supported by a few bamboo columns. Close to the entrance of the happy village, where there will be a lot of traffic, some extensions will be built. Some informal business will grow on their own, ranging from food to hairdressing. On the scaffoldings, they can do vertical farmings for their daily use, but also sell them when it's more than enough. There will be ongoing changes to these buildings and scaffoldings due to the changes of their needs. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to meeting you in the final jury. Have a nice day.